Hey, what's up? My name's Idris Elba, and I'm here to talk about my new film, my first film, Yardie. It's my director debut. And sitting next to me is one of my actors, in fact, the actor, my lead actor, Aml Ameen. And he plays D in the film. The film is based on a book by the same name. It was a novel that was popular in the 80s and became a sort of classic amongst Afro-Caribbean community in England and wider. I wanted to make this film because back when I was a teenager, I decided to read the book. It kind of struck a chord with me for many reasons, which we'll probably get into later. And I was fortunate to get the opportunity to make the film. So here we are today talking about that, and I'm very excited that Amel's here with me because Amel's been my sort of partner in crime for the entire journey. Well, at least for 2-3 years of it, you know what I'm saying? So welcome, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. Look at that, we're here, man.
I know, it feels really good.
It's surreal, it's surreal. No, listen, this project has meant the most to my career so far, you know what I mean?
That's debatable. Come on, you've had some.
I've had some moments, but to me, this is you know, we discussed it. This is a Goodfellas moment. This is our opportunity to make something that, you know, we loved. And the story of how I got the part, basically, I was going to Los Angeles, very serendipitous. I was going to Los Angeles from London, and I ended up in an elevator lift with Idris.
Elevator.
Elevator's fine.
You live in LA, just speak it how it is.
All right, elevator. I ended up in the elevator with Idris, and then from the gods I heard this voice, Aml. I was like, bro, what's going on, bro? And you know, he told me that he'd recently watched a film I'd done called The Maze Runner, and that he enjoyed it, and that he was looking at this film that he was looking to do, and he goes, you said to me, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to LA. And he said, yeah, I'm going to LA. Yeah. And so we both ended up on the plane. I excused someone to sit next to you, you know, which was nice. And then we
finagled that
easy
seat change.
Easy seat, you know. And we spoke about our families, our fathers, you know, what this book meant to the culture at the particular time, and what it means to me and my Jamaican heritage, and I remember you saying to me, you know, I send it to your agent and then, you know, we'll talk about it. And I said, what are you talking about? Let me read it right now and say what I'm going to say anyway, which is yes.
It's interesting because Aml, for me, it has always been an actor on my radar, just a good actor. But then The Maze Runner was a sort of big moment in terms of, you know, your American presence, and you know, you were everywhere for a second because you stood out in that film. And then, you know, it was right at the time where I was starting to sort of, you know, open up ideas for who could play D. Because, you know, D is such a complex character. I was definitely wanting someone that was Jamaican. I know that sounds sort of very, you know, tunnel vision,
it's important.
It's a very important characteristic of my casting. You know, I'm West African, I've played Jamaicans and West Africans and all sorts, but for this particular film and this book, I needed someone of the heritage to be able to bring D to life. So when you and I talk, and I discovered that you were Jamaican, I was like, wow, okay. That was a big key factor for me, and also, you know, in that conversation on the plane, and then further discussions, like you really took my sort of understanding of D to another level. Yeah, you took me further with how I could, you know, make D bigger, and that's a, you know, a sign of a good actor, basically. So
thank you.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that lasted 2 years before we got into production, and you know, I was going to Jamaica anyway, and you know, speaking to people and just trying to figure out what it would be, because I'm British Jamaican, and so the culture we grew up in the house was Jamaican, but it's different to be an actual Jamaican.
How was it shooting in Jamaica? Because we shot there for
me, I loved it, man. I loved it, but it was when I left you in Toronto and I went to Jamaica there, that's when I really got to understand it for the first time. My auntie Hazel would appreciate the shout out, you know, shout me out now, you know, they love it, innit? And you know, just go in there and go into like, meet with like Bunny Brown and different people, you know, go to Studio One and you know, speaking to the people and understanding the culture, and then just figuring out where I would actually be, what I'd be able to hook onto, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's that sense of, that real sense of pride. In Jamaica, everyone's a star to themselves.
Right.
And so holding that sense of like purpose, not being apologetic, you know, they have a sense of pride and dignity and be out there. And so to shoot in Jamaica, there's a moment, it was that 1973 party, do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and there's a big crowd of people, and just to hear that music, you know, Love Me Forever.
Rose Gardens, we were in
Rose Gardens, yeah. Which you said they had like a peace.
Yeah.
Like a peace tree.
So
for a bit, right?
There's a part in the beginning of the movie where we're sort of introduced to young D's world, and there's a big feud that divides two sides of the community. And basically, we shot in an area in Kingston called Rose Garden, which to this day has huge gang issues, and young men and kids are dying every day from these battles that happen. And you know, when we were sort of scouting for the film, you know, one of our security advisors was like, look, you know, coming to Kingston is one thing, but coming into Rose Gardens, Tivoli, you know, all these areas to look for a possible location is very dangerous. I wouldn't advise it, and let alone film here.
Yeah.
We get the opportunity to shoot there. We get permission, basically. And basically what happened is that the local community just called a ceasefire for at least 3 or 4 days while we shot. And what was crazy about it is that because Rose Gardens is divided into divisions, we were casting our extras from
the actual
everywhere.
Space, yeah.
So even though the storyline was that, you know, Tapper versus Spicer comes together in one area, well, within the Rose Gardens, there were people that aren't usually together,
involved,
coming together.
There's a union
in Rose
moment.
Gardens. So it was a real, the irony was interesting. And then sadly, as soon as we left, the night after we left, there was a shooting, a kid died.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. What do you think a movie like this means to the UK, to filmmakers here, to Jamaican culture here? I mean, you know, in 2018, why is this film important?
I mean, first of all, what I think it means to the UK is, I just know from the day we released that it's happening, there has been a great sense of excitement, you know, and a great sense of our story, the Black Caribbean story has never been told in this particular way and in this this scope. And I think titling it Yardie, and we discussed that at some point, but the Yardie, I think one of the great things that the Italian American genre has done is humanize the experience of people that are in that life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gangsters in that life. And so with D, who is a kid that's got, you know, suffering from trauma, but still loves music, he's a sound man, all of that, I think what we did and what you did by taking care of things in the edit was humanize that experience. And I think people are gonna be very grateful for that. You know, the colors and just seeing Jamaica like that. I know my family, the family that have seen it, they feel like that's my Jamaica. That's what's beautiful about it, you know? And so I think for that reason, it's taking care of it. What's it gonna mean to the people right now? You know, not to be too political, but just seeing a black family on screen that loves each other, you know, like that is quite unique. You know, I don't, you know, it's you can see pockets of it, but a full story. Like when I was sitting back and thinking about, you've put all of these some known actors and really non-known actors together and telling this kind of full story of essentially a love story, whether it's to be the brother or Yvonne. The music has been, everyone's been talking about that.
Yeah.
The music's been the one.
You know, we talked about music for a long period of the research.
Yeah.
We spoke about the music and how who D is. Amel's brother, Mikel, is a musician and helped us with writing some of the lyrics of the film. But I remember Amel telling me, he was like, you want me to chat? Chatting is, you know, like, you know, Jamaican speak for rap, you know, chatting. You want me to chat? I said, boy, I'm gonna have to call my brother Mikel, you know.
I tell you, he came in as a doctor. Dr. Mickey.
Shout out to Mickey, but
man.
he helped us with, you know, finding the musical tone of D. and how that expressed, because the music for D is a big part. And you know, people know that I come from a background of DJing, and I started DJing at the same age as D, like, you know, DJing from my mum and dad at 10 and 11, 14, being on the sound system, and that was D's journey, and that's why, you know what I mean, I felt very close to that.
Being a music man is certainly different. Like, I'm musical in the sense of dancing, but in terms of like actual rapping and singing, like,
when a good dancer, by the way, he's wicked. What? There's no
go on Instagram. Go on Instagram. When you and my brother connected that moment, and I just thought, oh yeah, there's an exclusion. There's a music world. Like, even the hours these guys would stay up to do something, I'm like, this is crazy, man. Yeah. It's a different world, and so I think the film has that rhythm to it. I think as well. Me enjoying it as a I'm more I have distance of it. I can watch it more as a film, you know, and the pacing of it is wonderful.
Not to give the end of the film away, but is there a universe where D comes back?
Well, I hope so, Idris. I hope so. No, listen,
real, like, I mean,
I do think so. Well, I think we always plan that. Oh yeah, you're right. I can't give it away, but there is the way the movie's structured anyway, which I don't think is giving too much away, is him reflecting on his scenario. When you got me to do the voiceovers, and so I think there is what happened in London during that time. Like, when we start, it's like 80. When we get to England, it's about 83, right? 83, 80. And so the progression of what the Yardie became, I think, is brilliant.
What happened? Well, Amel and I, when we were sort of in our early discussions, we were both, you know, film lovers, and we both grew up watching, you know, the Goodfellas, as Amel mentioned earlier, Godfathers, you know, the staple guy movies, basically. Yeah. But what the trilogy of The Godfather was exciting to us because of the progression of Michael Corleone's character from his younger days to that very, very long third film. But if you're a fan of those films, you know, you stick with it. And you know, for us, we always imagined that there was 2 more versions of Yardie. Yeah. But listen, who knows, man? We've got to see how well this one
works out. Yeah.
So I'm being told to wrap up. Listen,
it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. If I haven't said it before, thank you very much, Amel. You're astounding in this film. I mean, I've seen you in a bunch of films, but in this particular film, man, maybe because I got to watch you do it.
It's you.
But
no, honestly, I have to say, man, listen.
Smashed it.
You made me a better actor, man, and I thank you for that, man.
I appreciate it.
Just take it. Just take it.
All right,
Just take it.
Thanks so much.